Hey everybody, welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is on social media staff training, and this is really all about how to get better stories and photos from your staff. So let's jump in. I know everybody's busy. It's a smaller group today, so we're going to make this super interactive. Make sure you just use that chat button. And you can chat in any messages or questions that you have on the way. Remember, all the slides and this recording of today's presentation, it's going to be emailed to you. Hopefully by the end of today. Today's August 14th, 2018. But if not today, it'll be tomorrow, okay? So you're going to get the slides along with the presentation. So you don't have to take notes, but I have a feeling you're going to want to take a couple notes today just because we're going to talk about things that, you know, in more detail than are just on the slides. And I just want to make sure that you take the notes that you need for your school district. If you're on Twitter, which if you're not on Twitter, you need to be, because it's a great place to connect to all of these great social PR, social media school PR people across the country, really across the world. You can tag me at Andrea Gribble, let people know, hey, we're checking in for a little training. You can also use my hashtag social school for EDU. Now, you are in the right place if you deal with these two issues. If you deal with the fact that you get nothing for social media, like you feel like you're on an island and you're trying to come up with this great stuff, but you're not in every building within your school district. So if you're really struggling with getting nothing, and nothing in summer is different than nothing during the school year, so summer is a little bit different, or you're dealing with the issue on the right, which is it's kind of a blurry picture, it's not that interesting. If you get a lot of pictures like that, you're in the right place, okay? So if you're in one of those camps, if you are in the camp of, oh my gosh, our school district has it totally together, everybody's like, social media, yes, and you're overwhelmed with great pictures and great content, then you're probably in the wrong place. You probably don't need to listen to this. You probably should be giving this webinar, frankly. And certainly if you want to hang around and give your tips and tricks and strategies as we go, that's fine. But you might be better spent, have your time better spent somewhere else. So if you're that way, good for you. I'm Andrea Gribble, and most of you know me. I'm coming at you from Woodbury, Minnesota. I'm originally from Wisconsin. That's where my strong accent is, from up here. I've owned this company, Social School for EDU, since 2014. Our team has shared over 200,000 posts for more than 70 school districts. I'm married, and I'm a mom of 6. 5 of those 6 kids are in the house right now, and I'm hoping, oh, Delena's not hearing anything. Is everybody else hearing everything? I'm hoping that everybody, okay, I can hear you. And somebody else called in. I'm just going to give her that number really quick. Hang on. That's why we're a team. So yeah, call in. Okay. Yeah, it should be coming through your computer, but sometimes audio connection is a little bit goofy. So anyways, married, mom of 6, 5 of the kids are here, and I am a blogger. I love to blog and share, and obviously I'm a talker, and love to share on these webinars. So just such a privilege to be able to share kind of my thoughts and things that I've learned with all of you. My company is all about helping schools create awesome social media, and our mission is simple. We help celebrate students, and we help connect communities. There's a lot of schools using social media, maybe not in the most ideal way. Let's face it, we can all use improvement, right? But some of them are really struggling, and so our goal is to be able to help those schools. And school communication is a big job, but when you look at social media, it's really about celebrating your school one story at a time. But those stories are going on everywhere in your school district, right? And in many places. And if you are a school PR person, or if you're an administrative assistant that got tasked with doing social media, or if you're a teacher or a media specialist, or, you know, a school PR person, you still cannot be everywhere. And so you need to create an army of people that are helping you tell your story. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And so I've got a lot of free support out there. I've got a blog. I've got these monthly webinars. I've got some daily Facebook posts. And then as far as a company, we do social media management, where we manage your social media. We do coaching. We do graphics. And basically, it's built around this premise that you're really busy within your school, and our team's really just focused on telling the story. So let's jump in and let's start talking about how to get better stories and photos from staff. When I was at NSPRA this summer, which is the National School Public Relations Association, their annual seminar, what I asked people was, what's your biggest struggle with social media? And their biggest struggle is just like getting content and getting good pictures. And one of their questions for me, because our service, we're not at the school. So we're not able to go take the pictures. We're not able to, get inside the classrooms to take those pictures. So they're always like, how do you do it? How do you get good content? Like, I don't even understand how your system works. Well, we have developed a service that really does work well. And so we're going to kind of dish out all of the things that we use for our schools to really encourage people to, hey, you got to help. And so it does take a village, and you've got to get these teachers that are willing to not only take pictures of your kids, but to get a selfie, right, with them. And so there's a lot of strategies. And right now is the perfect time to talk about this because it's back to school time. Everybody's excitement about school is at the highest point right now, right? Everybody's excited to get started. And what we need to do is we need to harness that energy and make sure that every staff member, teacher, custodial person, lunch person, superintendent, principal, administrative assistant, bus driver, everybody feels empowered to tell your story, and you've got to make it easy for them. And so that's what this is all about. And the two major issues are getting good photos or getting enough content. And so I'm just breaking this kind of training into two camps. And first we're going to talk about getting good photos, and then we're going to talk about strategies to get enough content. I'm going to just kind of talk through those, and if you have questions or other ideas, please comment those in the chat bar because I want to hear them. Some of you have some great ideas. Please elaborate on what I'm sharing because that really adds to our discussion. So first of all, great photos. It starts with using your phone and saying no to iPads or tablets. If people are taking pictures with tablets because they have a tablet in their classroom, cameras and tablets are not as good as your phone. So you need to have them use their phone. Within your district, if you have teachers that say, well, I don't want to take pictures of kids on my own phone, you need to deal with that within your district. But with all the schools we serve, we ask people to take them with their phone. And if they don't have a smartphone, because there still are those people out there. My mom just got a smartphone, and now she texts and FaceTimes me when she doesn't think she is and whatever. But if you don't have a smartphone, ask one of your students to take a picture, right? And use your phone. That's the number one, thing, because if you're not getting good photos, that could be a reason, okay? We got a lot of tips here, and I don't want to go into other ones while I'm talking about it. How about, this was one suggestion from Jackie on our team, how about teaching a 15-minute class on taking photos with your phone? If back to school time, and maybe you've got a handful of people at each building within your school that are really good about submitting content, but maybe they're just not the greatest at taking pictures, how about teach a 15-minute class with them on how to take good photos with your phone? Again, I'm lucky enough, I have the new iPhone X or the iPhone 10, so it's got awesome portrait, view. I don't have to worry about a fancy camera. But there's a lot of people that think because they got their phone that they need a fancy camera or it's not going to be good, and that's just not true. So what about teaching a class, incorporating some of these strategies that we're talking about today into that class, and you will definitely get better pictures this year. Make sure that they realize that when they do take a picture on their phone, that they send it in the actual size. So this picture, like if you're explaining it in a presentation at the beginning of the year of submitting, things to you, show them this picture and say, I want you to pick the actual size. I don't want you to pick small, medium, or large, because that's going to start pixelating it. Facebook and other channels, they already start to, lose some of the quality. And so they need to send in that actual size image. Okay? Does that make sense? And sometimes they just don't even realize. It's like, what do you mean? So on my phone, I've got an iPhone, that's how it looks. I'm assuming an Android has a similar thing, but when they're emailing in, we want to make sure that we're using that actual size. This is an awesome tip, and it's so simple. Zoom with your feet. Okay, everybody is on Twitter right now should take a picture of this right now, and that should be the new hashtag. Hashtag Zoom with your feet. And take the photo as if you're sitting next to the student or right up close. How many of you have gotten those pictures from the back of the room where most of the picture is the ceiling and the floor, right? Those are not great pictures. And yes, you can crop pictures, but then you lose some of the quality, okay? Zoom with your feet. Get in there and don't be afraid, and they don't always have to, the kids don't always have to stop and say smile. It's you're getting in there and you're getting as if you're right next to the student or the person that, the activity that you're taking a picture of or video of. Get in. Angela loves this tip. Yes, Zoom with your feet. Go ahead and get in their space. Yeah, and don't, most kids are used to cameras and, you don't want to take away from any of the learning experiences, but it only takes a second, and it's just quick, get in there, okay? The other thing is that cropping does matter. So sometimes you're not going to get the best pictures, and so this is one example that you can see here of this girl working on this project. It has a little more background than I'd like. Well, guess what? It's so easy to crop when I get that photo on my phone, or I get it on my desktop and start loading it into Facebook. Now I can crop that once I get it there. Yes, it would be nice to always have people Zoom with their feet and send you the perfect picture in. But let's face it, a lot of us are just happy that we got a photo. And so then trying to make it work can be done. And so this is a great tip, and you can definitely crop. Remind your staff that it's all about student faces. Engaging social media really starts with people resonate with people's faces, the eye contact. You're just instantly drawn to this awesome picture from one of our schools, and it's a nice close-up one. So we try to avoid kind of as much as we can, although sometimes it's relevant to get a big group picture, right, of 30 kids. But that picture is not going to look as great as one that's actually just 1, 2, 3, or 4 students that's more close-up. Okay, so making sure that people just know that, hey, if you can get up and close like that, that's definitely going to be better. Just another side tip for you is when you are posting on social media, like on Facebook, and let's just say you have 5 or 6 or 7 pictures and you're going to post those all in one post, pick the best pictures to be at the beginning. These engaging pictures of close-up kids, pick those to be your first photos versus your last, because the preview is going to maybe show 4 pictures and then it's going to say plus 3 more. You want your best pictures to be right in the news feed, okay? So that's just kind of a little side tip. Unique angles. Explaining to your staff that, hey, there's some really unique angles that you can get with whatever you're doing. And this is one of my favorite examples. I thought at first that this teacher was probably standing on a desk, but all she did was she took her camera and she just held it over them. The feet at the bottom of the picture there, the brown boots with the dress, that's the teacher that's taking the picture. So all she did was she took her camera and took it above. So I know you have some very creative teachers and people that are submitting content, just remind them that, hey, you can get some unique angles. And this isn't of student faces, right? But it's still a very engaging picture to me because you're getting to see what they're working on. So don't be afraid to use some of those unique angles. Another tip is just that you've got to coach as you go. And so, just like a good coach, you're like, hey, thanks, you're really trying, but next time, just like try not to throw it to the other team. But nobody's trying to screw up on purpose, right? Remember my volleyball coach. Nobody's out there trying to screw up on purpose. So you've got to remember, hey, at least they're trying. And then you've got to coach them through, hey, this is what you need to do to improve. So this is just an example. Again, we work with a lot of staff at all of our different schools. And here was a message from Lauren that says, hey, Carol, some of the photos I have grouped together to create more of an in-depth overview post. One minor ask is to make sure that the pictures are clear because these seem a bit fuzzy or blurry, and some of them are okay, but hey, in the future, just keep that in mind. And some of them may not even realize. Don't you feel sometimes like you have to say, like, could you not be moving when you're taking the picture? Because it's just like just love those people through it and try to coach as you go. You're going to need coaching, and it's got to be one-on-one. So if they're submitting stuff and it's not great, let them know, hey, this is awesome. I love that you're doing this activity, but maybe I can show you how to use your camera or, whatever you need to do, but you've got to definitely be open to coaching as you go. I hope some of these are coming in handy. Make sure to comment if you've got some other ideas as far as good photo etiquette. I do have a webinar. It's a couple years old, but it's really good on taking good pictures at schools. So if you have a couple people that are really interested or you want even some more pointers on pictures, I will, in the follow-up email that has this recording, I will also link to that webinar because I think that's a good one if you want even more pointers on photos. Another tip is just utilize your best photographers. I don't even know which teacher of mine at New Auburn took this picture, but isn't this like the best? I love it. It made a great cover image on our summer collage for our Facebook cover. But if you have good photographers, utilize them. And sometimes that is a grandma or, a parent or anybody, but making sure that you kind of say, hey, I know there's this event going on. Can you make sure you take a few good pictures? And that's going to help balance things. So utilize your best photographers. They love doing it anyways and making sure that they share that out. Another tip, and this was actually from that webinar that I was speaking of, is getting in on the ground level. Now, I know that it's not possible. These teachers are like teaching class a lot of times and trying to take a quick picture. But this photograph was actually taken with this person on the ground so that she could angle up the camera slightly and get the children's faces and look at that teacher's face. You can even get that where most people would take that from above and it would lose that intensity and, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, right? So getting in on the ground level, and I love it, it makes all the difference to get in on their level. So kind of this with the zoom on the feet and then getting in on that ground level, that is critical and it'll make you a better photographer. Now, so that's it that I have for my tips for great photos. This webinar is going to go so much faster than some of my others. I'm really proud of myself because I know you guys are all busy. Any other ideas for getting great photos? Please jot those in the chat bar right now, and I'll come back to them even as I keep going. But hopefully there's just a few of these pointers that you could think of. And you guys, if some of these example pictures can help you, if you do a little 15-minute training course, or if you just get a chance to talk to all of your staff before the school year starts about, hey, we're really going to tell our story this year. If some of these examples help tell a couple of those pointers, use them, okay? You can use them. You have my permission, and you'll get these slides, so it'll make it easy, okay? Deal. All right. Now getting more content. sometimes this is how I look because everything is like, oh my gosh. I think that the biggest way to get more content from your staff is a simple system to submit. Make it easy. And if you have 5 different ways to submit, to me, that's not that easy, because then they're thinking, well, what should I do? Now, you can have different options, but there should be one primary way. The one primary way we use, and again, we serve over 60 districts across the country, and so we have a standardized way where we set up a social media email address. And we ask everybody, hey, you've got to submit 1 or 2 things a month into this email address, and then we will take it from there. You give a picture, you give a little bit of description, and then we will take it from there. I really like a general social media or communications email because you don't have to remember who do I need to send it to. And remember, hopefully, well, you do. You need vacation, okay? You deserve to go on vacation. If they're sending it to your email address and you go on vacation, how well does it work to say, hey, I'm going to be on vacation next week, so you need to send it to Lindsay? It doesn't work very well. Nobody hears it. And so if they send stuff, they're still going to send it to you, or they're going to stop sending it altogether because they forgot, like, oh my gosh, Lindsay, and now who is it? And so I think it's simple if you create an email address. Now, there are other methods people use. People have a form, a Google form, or some kind of form that they can submit. If that's easier for you, go for it. Some people in smaller districts, it's like, hey, if you just want to text it to me, so you don't have to email it, you might not have your email on your phone or whatever, you can text it to me. That's okay. Some people have a submission portal on their website. That's okay. Like, there's a lot of different methods that you can use, but you should have one main way that you tell them this is how you submit, and there you go. I have some members at my school district, because it's small, 300 kids K-12. 300 kids in the whole school district, kindergarten through 12th grade. Some of them Facebook message me pictures, and that's okay, all right? We follow other pages, and I think I'll get into that. But there's a lot of different ways you can use, but there should be one main way that you do use. If you've got some other methods that you use, please let me know. I'm just going to go back and recap a couple notes from Lisa. As far as good photos, making sure they represent the demographics of your message, like race, ethnicity, social, economic, gender, very important to really think about. So that's almost beyond good photos, but it's good representative photos, making sure that you're kind of thinking about those things. Other things are like, what things are you representing? Like, is it all athletics or is it all elementary? Like, you want to get a good mix of everything. That's great. Viewer 79 says horizontal photos seem to work better than vertical that most use. So she's saying horizontal, maybe more engagement, that maybe those. So it's up to you. We do know, as far as like video, because so many people are looking on their phone, that a vertical video or a vertical picture actually fills up a little more space. So that's something to keep in mind. But you also want to remember, like, Instagram is a square, and so those images are square. So there's a lot of things that come in to play. And Viewer 66 just says, be available. Constantly tell people around the district that you are there to help them show off the great work they're doing, and the stories will come. That is golden message. Consistently be supportive. I'm here to help. We can do this. You're doing amazing things. We need to tell people. Yeah, horizontal may be more versatile for using on website or TV later. That's true. A lot of us are not using, some of the stuff on social media on the television later, so that's important just to know, but, important things to remember. So thank you, Delana. All right. Submitting pictures, this seems like obvious to me, but this is a really important one. So making it easy to submit, just explaining to people that once they take a picture, the easiest way to actually submit that picture is to go into your camera roll find the picture. Again, this is on my iPhone, so I apologize to Android users, but is actually pick that lower left-hand corner, the send, and then pick your email, and then type in the email. I believe that this way, especially if you got to send in a couple pictures, this method is easier than going in and starting an email and then having to like double click and insert a photo within that email. This to me is easier because I can find the pictures that I want. I can just hit that send button and I can select them. So again, this is like our big E for one of our schools we serve, their logo for Elmwood. But if they have a picture of their kids, like just grab that and put that out. I think that is that makes it easier to submit, in my opinion. Another tip for more content: follow other pages and encourage classroom pages or teachers, teachers that are using Twitter, which Greg Turchetta does a great job of using tweeters, and there's a lot of other schools now using that term. If you want more content, sometimes you just, instead of it coming to you, maybe you have to go find it, okay? So I want to give you a couple of examples, and I'm just going to go out of here quick. So on my little New Auburn School District page is, here's all of our content, but I follow pages on behalf of the school district. So if you scroll down to the right, see where this says See Pages Feed? I'm going to click on that, and then I can actually like other pages. So let's just say, here's Miss Shipman. She has a classroom page, and she's a 3rd grade teacher. Any of the pages that I like on behalf of the school district are going to show up in this news feed just like they would on my home news feed, right? But it's going to be all stuff related to the school. So I am going to suggest that that's a great way to follow stuff. Now, it's summer still and basketball's just starting. Now, I would recommend, instead of just sharing these posts, which are not going to reach as many people, what I end up doing is I take this picture and I will I'll save it onto my downloads, okay? And then I'll save it there, and then I'll repost it on my New Auburn page, because that's going to reach more people than if I just share that image. That's getting into the Facebook algorithm. Most of you probably understand that. But following those pages is critical. The other thing that you can do on Twitter is Twitter has the ability where you can create lists. And so maybe you end up, and I've got to add more to this, but maybe you add schools that you're following. And so, oh my gosh, Peel District, a big fan of Carla Pereira and her team. And so they shared this awesome one of Jim Carrey doing the dance of 3 weeks away they start. If I want to just look at, let's just say these are all teachers within my school district, right? I can just see them, and it makes it so easy to retweet, or so easy to maybe capture a picture and share it on my social media page, okay? So lists and following other pages are crucial. Then also, obviously, I've used this example a lot, but if you have a strong hashtag, you're using that hashtag Go Crickets, and at any time I can go up there and I can see the latest posts who are people that are using Go Crickets, and it was their first day of cross country and first day of volleyball, and everybody's getting to be a storyteller for this school district in a lot of different ways, and you can go out and find information. So that is critical to finding more content. All right, we got a question, or Tony says also, if you don't have it, get WordSwag. It's a super easy way to take pictures to the next level. I totally agree. Actually, WordSwag is what we used for our blog header today. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show this really quick. This little Motivational Monday post was created in WordSwag, and we could even upload like the school logo on there. so easy. And yes, that really does. It can take a good picture and make it great because you can do some editing. So that is really key. Melanie has a great question. What's the best way to get pictures from phone to the computer without the resolution worsening? Well, we utilize just email a lot, like I showed you, where you can select and make sure that you email it to yourself with the highest resolution. The other way is, a lot of times if I have to transfer a lot of pictures from my phone to my computer, I use the cord, and then I'll just copy them off of my phone onto the computer, and then you shouldn't lose any resolution. That should be the highest resolution there is. If anybody else has some ideas on that, let me know. Most of the time, with some of our stuff, I just post right from my phone, so I'm not having to transfer. But if you have somebody that does use even a camera or something where they can't email them off of their phone, then getting that direct connection is probably the best way. So I hope that helps, Melanie. And like I said, if somebody else has a better suggestion, let me know. Another, just that it relates to the last tip as far as following other pages. Creating a social media directory on your website will really help you out. I think I linked this. Yes, I did. This is the social media from my friend Kristen Majette, who wrote the book on social media for schools. Just released her 2nd edition, and you should definitely buy that. But, sometimes it's like, oh, what was that page? Or, who exactly has a Facebook or, group or Twitter page or Twitter account or whatever. Well, if you create a directory like this on your website, it's very easy to follow some other pages. And if you're low on content, go check out what other people are sharing. If you want to see a very small version of this, and it can start at any level, you are going to see New Auburn's here. You guys are hanging on. I love it. We're not going to be on that much longer, so we're doing so good. Oh, not that. Focus. Right here's the link. So I've got under this contact us, we've got this social media page, and then we have all our links in addition to like Facebook and Instagram's up here, but we've got all our links. And then here are the classroom pages, and here are some club pages. So it's the beginning of the school year. It's a great time to be able to find out who has social media pages and get them on some kind of a directory. Because as long as you know where that's at, then you can go and look and see, okay, what is she posting, and it takes you right there. She needs to reposition her cover image because she cut off those kids' heads, which is a whole nother thing, right, of just coaching your staff on to how to use social media themselves. But I can go on here, and I could end up sharing information off of there. So I hope that helps. So that is definitely a great way to get more content. Another tip for more content, this one seems simple, but sometimes it's not, is you got to set the expectation from the top down that everybody is expected. And I think it's easy to say at least one thing a month needs to be submitted for social media. I know that your staff has a lot to do, but we have awesome things going on, and if nobody hears about them, we don't know. So it's good for everybody. It's good for our students. It's good for our parents. It's good for our school board. It's good for our community if we're sharing something, at least once a month from each staff member. Is every staff member going to do it? Nope, because some people think social media is the devil, right? And you're not going to change your mind. But just think if you had over half of your staff that was submitting at least one thing a month. Just tell me, would that make your job easier? Chat me right now. Like, would that make your job easier if at least half of your staff gave you at least one thing a month? I think I'm going to get like, yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Erin says yes with a couple extra S's. So we have to get that expectation from the top down. Your superintendent, my goal would be your superintendent would help you talk about social media when you have all of staff together. But if you don't get that opportunity to take, you can take less than 10 minutes to do it. But if you can't do that, do it at the building level where that principal is like, hey, this is an expectation. It's not another initiative. It's not, but just snap a picture and send it in. And if we can get at least half of the people to do it, that's going to be really, really powerful. And yes, many of you will take 50%. Email reminders, and that'll help too, yes. And I'm going to talk about that. I fear it'll turn into the same staff sending info and others sending nothing. I have 16 schools and have to balance a post between all of them. Yeah, that can be hard. One of the things that I'm going to talk about last might help with that, and that is reporting out who's sending in what as far as content and sharing some of that feedback, because some of that is enough to nudge some of those other schools that aren't sending in much to send in more. So that's important. But that struggle is real. And sometimes if you've got staff that's the same staff that's submitting content all the time, you might just ask them, hey, is there some stuff going on at the school that you can share with everybody, not just your classroom? Because then they might be willing to, hey, yeah, we're doing this all school assembly. I can send you a picture of that. Might be helpful. With the school districts we serve, again, we're not there, so we can't take the pictures. We totally rely on people sending us content. I can proudly say we average at least 2 posts a day, many times 3 or 4 posts a day, just by asking our faculty and staff to submit at least 1, in some of our smaller districts, 2 items per month. Photos are critical. Email it in to us and take it from there. Another thing to help get more content is just giving more ideas. We have 2 really powerful lists, and these are PDFs. I will send these out. Again, many of you may have them, but you may not even think of, oh, maybe I should send those out to staff. They should never come up with a reason of, I don't have any idea of what to submit, when you have 150 ideas between these 2 lists of what they could send out. So sometimes if you don't live in social media, you don't know what's awesome. You don't know that, one student helping another student tie its shoe would be an awesome social media post, right? So just giving them some of those ideas will really help trigger. And Angela, yes, in the email today, I will be sending out both of these lists, a direct PDF link to them, so that then you can print them out and give them out, or you could email them out. It's a shareable Google link, and so you guys will have that. I need to get my list and the webinar on taking pictures, and then the 2 lists. Okay, got to hold myself accountable here. You guys are doing great. We are getting to the end. This is another tip that we use a lot, is instead of an email to every single staff member, where it's like an email to all, hey, we need more content, send in your stuff, and then you get back crickets because nobody sends anything. How about requesting content individually, not to everybody? So, for instance, viewer 61, I don't know your name right now, but you have the 16 schools and, not getting stuff. How about, trying to find one teacher at that school you never get anything from and say, hey, Mrs. Smith, I know you're doing awesome things in your English class. Could you grab a photo this week and just send it to me with a simple explanation? That one-on-one request is going to, I'd say, work 90% of the time of getting information back. This post that I shared from our tech ed department at Little New Auburn was because I emailed Mr. Reenfoss and said, hey, I know you're doing awesome things. Can you send me a couple pictures this week? He sent me 3 different ones, and we were able to write up this little blurb. We're so lucky to have so many opportunities in this little school. It's powerful, and it's, real work that our kids are doing. So when you ask everybody, sometimes you're speaking to no one. So request that content individually. The other thing is actually asking for specific things. So if you do put an email out to everybody, maybe you're going to email out and just say, hey, you know, what's the best student gift that you ever received that's still like by your desk? And maybe you're going to, help feature that. Or what kind of, story did you get from a student, their best learning experience over the summer? And then all of a sudden that triggers a specific story, and then that teacher knows what to submit. So getting specific that way helps too. And this is a great comment, which I did not have on my list, but Tony's getting an editorial calendar going. So teachers are actually going to have assigned stories for the school for the year with a given focus. That is on top of off-the-cuff stuff we already do. Should have a lot of stories. So teachers are going to be assigned a story with a focus, okay? It's the month of, Thanksgiving, or, sometimes the Thanksgiving, November, being thankful. What are you thankful for in your education? Maybe that's a story theme, okay? Maybe why we love our school is a theme for February, okay? So that is a great idea, Tony. That's really good. And then the staff reaction, he said, has been really positive because they love to know for sure what is due and when. Take some of the thinking away. Great idea. And that whole editorial calendar, again, it takes away some of the angst. Tips for more content, another one, is reward your contributors. So this, again, was from Jackie on our team, who worked inside of some small Catholic schools for a while. She said, hey, if you submit at least 2 things a month, your name goes into a drawing, and then you could get selected for a gift card, and they happen to give away a gift card at like a local store where a lot of teachers bought supplies for their classrooms. And so that was a big deal. So they gave away a couple $100 gift cards, I think at the end of the year. But you could do something like that monthly as well. So, hey, if you submit at least 1 thing a month, and again, if it's via email, that makes it pretty easy to track who's submitting. And then you can have those awards. We've also done, Greg had a traveling little hashtag thing that doesn't cost a lot of money. You buy it on clearance or whatever at Hobby Lobby or, any kind of local store or Amazon. And that travels around, and that gets to be a big sense of pride, right? So think about, would your staff respond to getting some kind of a reward? And that it's something that you could manage. I think that is another way to try to encourage content, okay? Another tip for content is just get students and parents involved. So some of you, we've got some, it's a grandmother that used to be our librarian when I was in school. She was the librarian. Now she has grandkids at the school, and she is like #1 chaperone for all these trips. She'll send in videos and really good pictures, and normally we don't get stuff from parents or grandparents, but because she's on all of those and she kind of knows that I'm in charge, and she sends those in. And so that's really a powerful way to get more content. So go where the people are, and that, if they're at every sporting event, ask them, hey, can you send me some pictures? That would be awesome. And okay, Delina just asked, how will you share the editorial calendar? Just a PDF or on a platform? I'll remove our district specific. Okay, so Tony is going to send me an example of what that editorial calendar looks like, so that we'll share that in the follow-up email. Tony, this is pressure. If I can get it by the end of today, then we'll probably get that email out today. But that's awesome. I love sharing. Yes, he's on it. You don't have to be on it right now. You can listen to the rest of the webinar, but funny. Are there copyright issues for placing music on Facebook like choir performances? That's a great question, viewer 88. When you share, these are snippets of like a band concert. We have actually shared entire performances for like a concert and not had any issues with copyrighted material. Don't share musicals. That has a lot of copyright things. But we have not run into any copyright issues. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say that that some people couldn't get in trouble, but we have done complete concerts, Christmas concerts, winter programs, spring programs, all of that. We have shared those out on social media and not had any issues with it being put in its entirety. If you ever utilize like the recorded version by like, you know, Justin Bieber or Beyonce is singing a song and you're trying to play that, you're going to get flagged by Facebook. Is not going to let you post that. And so in most cases, they're going to flag that before you'd ever get into issues with copyright. How we get around that is if we want a well-known song, we will put it in a YouTube video, and then we have to share the YouTube video on Facebook, which isn't ideal because of Facebook algorithm and reach, but sometimes that's the only method. So I hope that helps. But getting more content, get your students and parents involved. Also, don't be afraid to have account takeovers. So I just shared an Instagram webinar, which again, I'll send that out again with today's kind of notes. Instagram stories are huge. And I think if you are looking to kind of take engagement to the next level, that needs to be on your horizon. But you don't have to do it all yourself, okay? Don't feel overwhelmed. So you could have student takeovers, and obviously they'd need some training, right? Giving them some love and some guidance of what they're going to share. Or you have a lot of staff, young staff that loves Instagram stories, and you could do like first day of school, a whole story on Instagram, you know, first day of school, homecoming, graduation, last day of school, you know, think of specific events and behind the scenes stuff that you could share out on like an Instagram story, or Facebook now has Facebook stories. We've got Facebook Live, all of those things, but it does not have to be all you. You can get contributors and you can get helpers, and that will really help your level of content. So I hope that helps. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. I've gone into detail on some other webinars, but again, Facebook Live. If somebody's doing something, you can give them access to the account so they can go live from their device onto the school's page. And that's really good for engagement. It's really good content. It's a good way of getting everybody engaged. Tony loves Facebook Live, and it's easy and people love it. And it's authentic. Like sometimes we're so worried about those perfect videos and, you know, transitions and all this stuff, intro, outro. Facebook Live is just, hey, we are so excited for the school year to help. 2 weeks, we're having our back to school event, and these are 3 things you need to know. 1, it's, you know, on this date. 2, it's from 4 to 7. And 3, hey, middle school, high schoolers, you're going to get your schedules then. Don't call the school before then. You're going to get your schedule at that event. It can be short, it can be long, there's so many different ways. And we have a ton of resources, a Facebook Live guide, 30 ideas for Facebook Live. We've got all that. Okay, so viewer 61, the thought of giving away my social media passwords is giving me anxiety. Yes, I know. If you're doing Instagram, they do need your password. You could change it just for the day, right? You could change it to something that they can have access for the day, and then you could change it back, okay? The other thing is on Facebook, you just assign contributors, or we've been having an issue with Facebook Live contributors, so we just have to make them an editor, but then you could take that back, okay? So yes, you have to get over that. Trust and, you know, try it with a trusted staff member first and then go from there. Maybe that will help. But you have to remember, you know, to get enough content, it can't be just you, and so you want to do that. And then tips for content is just creating more, you know, features or campaigns. This goes a little bit with Tony's, you know, kind of content and editorial calendar. But when you set up easy to do campaigns that you're going to do like every single Friday or every single Monday, that helps create that consistent content. And some of these are really engaging. This was a simple thank a teacher, and I'm just going to quickly go through some examples here. Thanking a teacher, and they actually got nominations, okay, for people that say, I would like to honor Mrs. Dorr. It's pretty easy to create something like that. Creating the graphic, awesome. This is a thank you, and this is actually their school pictures that they got in like the PNG format that's already cut out. So it's easy to do this. And then Allison's our graphic designer. She puts these together, and she's awesome. But this is just a basic, like, thank you for all you do. It's easy. And then look at, it had 35 comments, 281 reactions. This guy has happened to work at the school district since I was a kid. So a lot of years, 30 years probably. So everybody knows him. Great way to have content, consistent content, getting great stories and feedback back. I mean, look at that comment. Thanks for the positive impact you've made on so many students and athletes over the years. I quoted you, as I remember it, just the other day. Dress good, feel good, play good, right? That's awesome. I love it. Our teachers have impacted us in so many different ways. So this is an easy one. Welcoming your new staff. I hope you're welcoming your new staff. I just heard the best story just a few minutes ago when I was doing a coaching call with a school. They ran in on a walk. It was a small community. They ran in on a walk to one of their new staff members. They recognized them because why? Because they did a Facebook feature on them and they recognized their face. So making sure that you're introducing those new staff members to everybody before the welcome back day is really a powerful thing, and it's easy. This is just saying, hey, we welcome them, but you could do a little story or anything. We've got student features that we've gone over before, student videos. Motivational Monday posts. Take great pictures. This is like the best picture. I love it. And then putting a quote with it. That's powerful, and that's content, and that's telling the story of your schools. And so that's powerful, and it's pretty easy to do. Throwback Thursdays are something we like to do. You could do shareable fact campaigns, sharing facts about your school. And then doing student features. And again, that's kind of like the other one, which was seniors. This one is just like a student who shines weekly feature on nominating students who really shine and go above and beyond. And this little guy, I got to take his picture. So photogenic. It's just awesome. And this is just another way of sharing some information about your district. It's kind of an infographic, but yet there's pictures of kids' faces. So it's going to be more engaging than if it just said the average class size is 25. If that's all the graphic was, you'd get less engagement than having that picture of that student, okay? So really good stuff. And this is kind of my last tip, and then we're going to wrap up with any last-minute questions or anything, is if you aren't reporting your metrics back to your leadership and back to your staff members, I think that's a big mistake, because people don't realize the impact social media is having unless you tell them. So you need to figure out a way to report metrics back. Now, we report back with a quarterly report card to all the schools we serve, and we basically say, hey, look at how our Facebook's growing. Look at in the middle, we're reaching over 6,000 sets of eyeballs, so over 12,000 eyeballs, right, every week, with great things that are happening at our school district. And we're posting almost 2 times a day, and look at all this reach and some of the best comments. But if you're not taking the time to tell people, then it's likely to fall off the radar, and it's not as important. You got to keep it important, and you got to be able to post back. So I just want to share with you that we do have an option to have our team assemble these metrics for you and do a quarterly call on them. We do this for just $250 a quarter, so it's $1,000 for the whole year, okay? And we track your social channels weekly on a district level. We do the quarterly report card, and then guess what we do? We do a phone call with you and your leadership kind of team, maybe a team of 3, 4 people, and then we talk through, oh my gosh, this is going awesome. This could use improvement. What are you struggling with? It's almost a little mini coaching call, but for super affordable. We'll talk through training opportunities. It's kind of a webinar format like that. This is really powerful. And when I was at NSPRA, I was with David Olson from Sycamore, and he's like, you really need to promote this more, because this is really valuable. Like, I just, he's busy with all the stuff, and we're in looking at data every single week. You have that vision of, what's going on. And also you get some insight into, hey, how are we doing compared to other schools, trends, all that stuff is kind of associated with that quarterly call. So I just want to kind of put that out there to you folks, that it's a great time to get started. It's a new school year. And if you're struggling with that way to report back, this is a super affordable way. There are options out there that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. This I think is a very affordable option for your school, because remember, like, if you can attract or retain one student to your district, that's thousands and thousands of dollars back. So just kind of an ending, this is my favorite quote. We do need to make the positive so loud that the negative is almost impossible to hear. And we can do that with social media, but we cannot do it alone. So we need to train our Army and teach them how to be part of the process, how to get us content, how to take better pictures. So I hope that each of you got some great pointers. And now I'm just going to wrap up with questions. And I'm going to see, I'm doing so good. Well, I was doing good at time. Now it's already 5 to 11, or 5 to 1, I guess, Eastern. In the chat bar, I'm watching that. Do you have additional questions or some ideas that I did not mention that you want talked about? Please mention those now. We'll get wrapped up in just a minute. I think hopefully that triggered some easy things for you to talk about, and maybe just like, oh, I never thought about doing this, or teaching a 15-minute training course on, a few of my teachers. I think that would be good. Delana is asking, how do you convince staff posting to school Facebook pages that Facebook is worth it when Twitter is so much easier? So if they want to post on Twitter, have them post on Twitter. Like, if that's going to be the best way to submit content, using your school hashtag to just post on Twitter, and for you to be able to grab pictures from there, do that. Whatever is easiest for you. In our area, Delana, not many teachers are on Twitter, which is a shame. And I'm still like on my bandwagon. I just was with new staff yesterday. I'm like, you need to be on Twitter. Even these young teachers, like, they don't really, they're on to Snapchat, Instagram, or whatever. If Twitter is easier for them, have them do Twitter, have them use your hashtag. You can grab that, you can retweet. And Delana, in our districts, Facebook is always our #1 channel, but maybe in your school district, Twitter is the #1 channel, and that's okay. And then you can just, spend a lot of time retweeting what they're sharing, and you'll get a ton of great stuff in your news feed. That's totally fine. So I hope that helps a little bit. And they don't have to have a Facebook page. Okay, you're going to review the recording, which is awesome. Tony, just as a reminder, and this is so true, teachers are so humble. They're so humble, and they're not naturally moved to talk about their successes. They have a lot of stress in their job. I can't imagine what they deal with. You have all sorts of conflict and things that you're exposed to as a teacher, and it's so easy to get drudged down. But being that cheerleader and helping them realize that, dude, like, this is amazing. Like, this little kid read with confidence for the first time, because of the work that you've been doing. This is worthy of sharing. I think that is critical. And then, Tony just says, once they know you want to help, it's really easy and they will open up. Tony just says Facebook's #1 here too, and got to go where people are at. So it's all up to you. But yeah, your staff the best, so you know where you're going to be able to make the most inroads. And I mean, honestly, you want to make it easy to submit. And if you can make it like, hey, this is what I use, and you can manage that, that's awesome. Really, really great questions and really great insight from our team here. So we still got some people on. If you've got other questions, I can hang out for another couple minutes. But if you're good, this is going to get wrapped up. And again, you're going to get all of the slides that you can steal shamelessly from. You are going to get the ability to listen to the recording again and share it with anybody you want. And then we'll submit a lot of things like the editorial calendar from Tony, the 50 ideas and 100 ideas, the webinar on taking photos, the Instagram webinar, all of that. And thank you, Lisa, for tuning in. I just really appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your schedule, and thank you for what you do for our kids. It's not an easy job, and it's challenging and it's ever changing, but we're in it together. We are in it to win it. We are going to make this year the very best at celebrating your school. Just as a heads up, our next free webinar, and we'll be launching our entire series for the fall and into all the way until the winter break. That'll be out soon. Our very next webinar is all about your referendum checklist, like it's a to-do list for when you're going to ballot. And so that's referendums in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Maybe it's a bond, however you call those. The next webinar is actually being guest presented by Heidi Feller, who's on our team. We have learned a lot with social media and how to use social media to get information out. You can't tell people how to vote, but you can explain what's there. And she's going to go through a really nice checklist of what you need to make sure that you're doing. So that is all I have for today. So we'll see you next time. Tune into your email inbox. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.